So, good day everyone! This is Nika again at ngayon, magtatry naman tayong mag-solve ng problems about corporation accounting. At para nga sa ibang makakapanood, if ever, kagaya ng nasa disclaimer kanina, ang mga answers na mai-share ko dito is hindi ako sure kung tama nga ba. Kasi I'm just trying to solve yung problem na ibinigay sa amin ng professor namin. At kung minsan nga rin is nag-overthink ako sa ibang transactions. Kaya I am not really sure kung yung concept na ginawa ko is kagaya nung tamang concept para makuha yung sagot dito sa mga problems. So however, kailangan pa rin nating mag-start kahit wala tayong kasiguraduhan. So let me read the requirements or the questions. So let me read the requirement and transactions. Okay, so we have here two requirements. First is journalize the above transactions, and second is prepare a shareholders' equity section of the statement of financial position as of December 31, 2020. So, sa madaling salita, ang gagawin natin ngayon is, bukod sa mag-a-analyze ng problem, mag-journalize din ako at gagawa ng shareholders equity. So, let's start. At siya nga pala, bago ko makalimutan, I already made an entries here. Kasama na rin yung ibang computation para sa ibang transaction para mas mapabilis yung flow ng aking video about accounting. Okay, so here's the problem. Problem 1. Pen and Paper Company began operations on January 1, 2020. Authorized were 100,000 ordinary shares of 100 par value and 50,000 cumulative preference shares of 10% with 100 par value. The following transactions involving shareholders' equity occurred during the first year of operations are here. On January 1, issued 10,000 ordinary shares to the promoters in exchange for land valued at 2,500,000 pesos and service valued at 500,000 pesos. The property had cost the promoters 1,800,000 3 years before and was carried on the promoter's book at 1,500,000 pesos. First, para sa pagkuha ng price ng land or ng property, I believe na ang second line na ito ay panggulo lamang dahil ito yung presyo nung 3 years before pa at ito naman yung naging presyo niya nung nasa promoter's book. Ang concept kasi when it comes to equipment or properties, ang palaging kinukuha natin na price or nare-record na price is yung fair market value, which is yung makikita natin dito sa taas. So kaya ang nangyari, nung January 1, I debit land for 2,500,000 na nanggaling dito. Then I credit ordinary shares for 1 million kasi ang sabi dito is nag-issue daw ng 10,000 ordinary shares. At ang sabi sa problem, ang bawat ordinary shares ay merong 100 par value. So 10,000 times 100 is equals to 1 million. Nagkaroon din naman ako ng credit na share premium ordinary kasi kung mapapansin nyo to, kapag ordinary shares lang ang nakakredit, hindi siya balance sa nakadebit natin. So kailangan is laging balance ang debit at credit. Kaya nagkaroon ako ng share premium ordinary for 2 million. 2 million kasi balancing figure lang siya. Para mag-balance lang siya dun sa nakadebit. Next. Issued 15,000 preference shares for 120 pesos per share. The entity paid 50,000 pesos to an agent for selling the shares. So dito naman sa February 20, ang ginawa ko lang is debit cash for 1,800,000 dahil 15,000 times 120 is 1,800,000. Then credit preference shares for 1,500,000. Kasi sabi nga, ang original na par value ng preference shares ay 100 din. So, ibig sabihin, yung 15,000 para makuha mo yung original preference shares, itatimes mo pa siya sa original par value na 100, kaya magiging 15,000 times 100 is 1,500,000. At magkakaroon din ng share premium preference for 300,000 para nga yung credit balance ay maging equal sa debit balance na 1,800,000. Salaries expense for 50,000 kasi ang sabi dito is nagbayad daw yung entity ng 50,000 dun sa agent na nag-sell nung kanilang shares. So, I believe na itong 50,000 na to is salaries siya dun sa agent. Kaya, ginawa ko siyang salaries expense and then, I credit cash for 50,000. Next. On March 10, sold 25,000 ordinary shares for 260 pesos per share. Issue cost amounted to 200,000 pesos. Dito naman ay debit cash for 6,500,000 kasi nga 25,000 times 260 is equals to 6,500,000. And then, kailangan makuha din natin yung original ordinary shares. So, yung 25,000 tinimes ko sa original par value which is yung 100. So, 100 times 25,000 is equals to 2,500,000. At para nga maging balance sila nung nakadebit natin, merong magkakaroon ng share premium ordinary which is 3,500,000. At sabi nga is nag-issue din daw ng cost for 200,000. So, I believe na ang cost na ito is organization expense. So, I debit organization expense for 200,000 and I credit cash for 200,000. Next, on April 1, sold 20,000 ordinary shares under share subscription at 350 per share. No share certificates are issued until a subscription contract is paid in full. No cash was received. So, ang nangyari naman dito ng April 1 is nag-sold naman ng 20,000 ordinary shares for subscription. So, ibig sabihin ng subscription, hindi pa fully paid yung sinubscribe. Kumbaga siya ay subscribe but not yet fully paid kapag nagkaroon ng subscription. At sinasabi rin nga na hindi ka pwedeng mag-issue ng certificate kapag hindi pa fully subscribed yung share. That's why nung April 1, I debit subscription receivable for 7 million. Kasi nga, 20,000 times 350 is equals to 7 million. Then, para makuha yung original price niya, itong 20,000 is tinimes ko dun sa original par na 100. That's why I credit subscribe ordinary shares for 2 million at kagaya ng paulit-ulit kong sinasabi para mag-balance sa debit, I credit share premium ordinary for 5 million. Next, on April 8, reacquire 5,000 ordinary shares at 300 pesos per share. So, ito naman is when we say reacquire, it means it is all about treasury. That's why I debit treasury stock for 1,500,000 because 5,000 times 300 is equals to 1,500,000. And I credit cash for 1,500,000. So, balance na sila. Next. On July 15, exchange 12,000 ordinary shares and 20,000 preference shares for a building with a fair value of 7 million. The building was originally purchased for 6,500,000 by the owner and has a carrying amount of 4,800,000. In addition, 10,000 ordinary shares were sold for 3 million cash on the same date. Ngayon, hahanapin ko muna yung totoong presyo ng building. At since ang nakalagay dito is parang before pa, magbe-base pa rin tayo ng presyo ng building is dun sa naunang sentence. Okay, that's why on July 15, I debit building for 7 million kasi sabi dito is yung fair value niya is 7 million. I credit ordinary shares for 1,200,000 because 12,000 ordinary share times 100 is equals to 1,200,000. And I also credit preference shares for 2 million because 20,000 times 100 is equals to 2 million. At syempre dahil hindi pa siya balance ng 7 million, kumbaga meron pang kulang na 3,800,000, magkakaroon tayo ng balancing figure. But this time naka-ratio siya, just like this. So, di ba nga sabi ko kanina, meron pang 3,800,000 na kulang para mag-balance yung debit at saka yung credit natin. At ang ginawa ko dito, dahil dalawang shares yung ginamit ko, which is ordinary and preference shares, para makuha yung share premium nila is ginawa ko silang ratio. Kasi para sa akin, nagbenta ka lang naman dito ng shares. Kaya dapat kung magkano lang yung shares na na-issued mo at kung magkano lang yung original par value mo, ganun lang din dapat yung sobrang matatanggap mo if ever na meron. That's why ang ginawa ko is pinag-add ko yung 1,200,000 plus 2 million mula sa preference at ordinary at ang nakuha kong sagot is 3,200,000 at siya yung ginawa kong ratio. So for ordinary, I have here 12/32 and sa preference is 20/32. That's why sa computation, 12 divided by 32 times 3,800,000. Ito yung 3,800,000. Ito yung kulang para maging balance yung dalawa. So, it is equals to 1,425,000 for ordinary. That's why yung share premium ordinary ko dito is 1,425,000. Next, 20 divided by 32 times 3,800,000 is equals to 2,375,000. Kaya sa share premium preference ko, ang naging answer is 2,375,000. So kapag, I believe na kapag pinag-add itong apat na to, it is total of 7 million at balance na siya dun sa ating debit balance. At meron pa ngang additional statement itong problem na ito, so I will read it again. So yun nga, sabi dito, in addition, 10 million ordinary shares were sold for 3 million cash on same date. That's why meron pa akong entry dito na debit cash for 3 million because yung 10,000 ordinary shares ay sinold sa halagang 3 million pesos. So, hindi mo na kailangang mag-times sa mga par kasi given na yung cash. That's why 3 million. And then, kagaya nga nung ginagawa ko kanina, palagi kong kinukuha yung original price. That's why I credit ordinary shares for 1 million because 10,000 ordinary share times 100 na original par is equals to 1 million. At para nga mag-balance sila ulit, I also credit share premium ordinary for 2 million pesos. Next. On July 20, declare a 2 pesos per share cash dividends payable on September 20. So actually, nag-overthink ako ng very light dito sa problem na to. Hindi ako sure kung tama nga ba yung concept na ginawa ko. So I'll show you the computation. Dito kasi ang ginawa ko para makuha ko yung dividends, parang pinagbukod ko muna sila first. So, ang una, kinompute ko muna yung all issued shares ng ordinary. So, we have here 10,000, 25,000, 20,000, less yung 5,000 na reacquired kanina for treasury. Less yung 5,000 na reacquired kanina for treasury. Then, add 12,000 and add 10,000. And yung ordinary issued shares is total of 72,000. Ang sabi dito is nag-declared ng 2 pesos na cash dividends. That's why yung 72,000 na ordinary issued shares ko is tinimes ko sa 2. Kaya naging 144,000. Next naman na kinumpute ko is yung issued shares ng preference. So, we have here 15,000 issued shares and 20,000. Pag pinag-plus mo yun is equals to 35,000. Then, I also times it to 2 kasi sabi nga is 2 pesos per share daw. And then, tinimes ko siya sa 10% kasi kung natatandaan nyo kanina, may given sa problem, sinabi doon na merang 10% cumulative preference shares. That's why 35,000 times 2 times 10% is equals to 7,000. At yung dalawang sagot na nakuha ko from ordinary and preference issued shares is pinag-combine ko or pinag-add ko, which is 144,000 plus 7,000 is equals to 151,000. That's why sa entry ko, noong July 20, I debit retained earnings for 151,000 and I credit cash dividends payable for 151,000. Next transaction. On August 1, received payments in full for half of the share subscription and partial payments on the rest of subscription. Total cash received was 4,500,000. Share certificates were issued for the subscription paid in full. So, dito sa August 1, medyo gumawa din ako ng sarili kong concept. So, ang ginawa ko naman dito is dahil nga sabi sa problem is nagbayad na daw ng half of the share subscription at saka yung partial payments, ang total nun ay 4,500,000. So, ang entry ko ay ganito. I debit cash for 4,500,000 and I credit subscription receivable for 4,500,000. At sinabi sa problem na share certificates were issued for the subscription paid in full. So, dito sabi ko nga gumawa ako ng sarili kong concept. At dito sa concept ko is inisyuhan ko siya ng share certificate although 4,500,000 pa lang yung nabibigay niya. So, para mabuo yung 2 million na subscribe ordinary share kanina na ginawa ko, I just simply debit subscribe ordinary shares for 1 million pesos and I credit ordinary shares for 1 million. Kasi sabi nga yung unang 1 million is kasama na dun sa partial payment. Yun ay conclusion ko lang. Kaya naglagay ako ng another 1 million para ma-issuean ko siya ng share certificate. Next. On August 5, reissue 2,800 treasury shares at 285 pesos per share. So, kung mapapansin natin, bumili sila kanina ng treasury shares na nagkakahalaga ng 300 pesos. Pero ngayon, na-reissue lang nila yon sa halagang 285 pesos. So, ibig sabihin, ang mangyayari sa issuance ay below cost. Kaya, ang ginawa ko ay ganito. On August 5, I debit cash for 798,000 because 2,800 times 285 is 798,000. Next is I credit treasury stock for 840,000 dahil ang original cost niya ay 300 pesos. So, 2,800 times yung original cost niya na 300 is equals to 840,000. At dahil siya nga ay below cost, magkakaroon tayo ng debit na retained earnings na 42,000 para mag-balance sila. However, kung merong share premium or di kaya share premium treasury, yun muna ang ilalagay instead of retained earnings. But since walang share premium, dinebit ko na agad yung retained earnings for 42,000. Next. On September 20, paid the cash dividends. So, kung natatandaan nyo kanina, nagkaroon tayo ng cash dividends payable at ngayong September 20 na siya babayaran. That's why, noong September 20, I debit cash dividends payable for 151,000 and I credit cash for 151,000. So, itong 151,000 is galing lang din dun sa cash dividends payable na kwenta ko kanina. Next, on October 10, received a mobile equipment with a fair value of 500,000 as a donation from the shareholder. So, kung napapansin nyo sa problem, yung donation ay nagmula sa shareholder. That's why it is classified as donated capital. Kaya ang mangyayari, I debit mobile equipment for 500,000 and I credit donated capital for 500,000. Next. On November 8, declare a 2-4-5 share split for ordinary shares. So, sabi sa accounting concept, when it comes to share split, palagi lang siyang memorandum entry at hindi ka nagjo-journal. That's why ang entry ko sa November 8 ay memorandum entry instead of journal entry. Kaya ang nakalagay dito is the shareholders will receive 2 shares with a new par value of 40 for each share held. Paano ko nakuha yung 40? Kasi sabi is 2-4-5 share split. So, yung 100 na original par value, itatimes siya sa 2. And then 100 times 2 is equals to 200. Then 200 divided by 5 is equals to 40. Kaya siya naging 40 yung bagong par value. Next. On November 15, declare a 20% share dividends on ordinary shares payable on December 15. Sa problem na to is gumawa lang din ako ng sarili kong concept at again and again, hindi ako sure kung talagang accurate siya. Pero, eto pa rin yung ginawa ko. I'll show you. Kasi nagkaroon nga nung November 8 is nagkaroon ng share split. Kaya I believe na makaka-apekto yun sa outstanding shares na kung saan mas tataas yun. Kaya nung nagkaroon ng declaration of share dividends, medyo pinataas ko pa ng konti yung issued shares and outstanding. So, sa computation ko dito sa November 15, kinuha ko lang yung issued shares ng ordinary kasi ang sabi lang naman ng problem is yung share payable lang daw for ordinary. That's why, sabi ko nga kanina, kinumpute ko na yun, magkakaroon ng issued shares na 77,000 kapag hindi mo niles yung 5,000 na treasury. So, yun na yung issued, 77,000. However, sa outstanding naman, magiging 72,000 kapag niles yung treasury. But still, kanina sa transaction, sabi na ibigay na daw yung 2,800. That's why ang magiging outstanding na ngayon ay 74,800. Kaya meron tayong issued shares na 77,000 at merong outstanding shares na 74,800. At since dahil nagkaroon nga ng share split, I conclude na magkakaroon din yun ng kaunting pagbabago. Kaya para malaman ko kung ano yung pagbabagong naganap sa issued shares, ang ginawa ko is yung 77,000 tinimes ko sa original par na 100. So, 7,700,000. Kaso, di ba nga nagkaroon ng share split at ang sabi, magkakaroon na daw ng new par value na 40. Kaya yung 7,700,000 dinivide ko sa 40 at ang lumabas is 192,500. Ibig sabihin, ang bagong issued shares na ngayon ay hindi na 77,000 but rather 192,500 dahil nagkaroon nga ng share split. And outstanding is still 74,800. Next ay meron tayong unissued treasury. Kasi sabi natin, 'di ba, 5,000 siya noon. Kaso na-reissued na yung 2,800. Kaya yung natitirang treasury na lang ngayon is 2,200. Kagaya ng ginawa ko sa issued shares, para malaman ko kung ilan na ngayon yung unissued treasury, tinimes ko ulit siya sa 100. And then, nakakuha ako ng sagot na 220,000. I also divided it to 40. That's why, ang nakuha kong sagot is 5,500. Kumbaga, yung unissued treasury, yung natitirang treasury is hindi na 2,200 but rather 5,500 na kasi nga nagkaroon ng share split. Kaya ang naging computation ko for dividends is 192,500 minus 55. Itong 192,500 ay nakuha ko dito sa issued shares at ito namang 5,500 ay mula dito sa treasury na hindi pa na nai-issue. Kaya nung pinag-minus ko sila, 187,000 na lang. Tapos, tinimes ko sa 40 na par value. Kaya naging 7,480,000. At ang sabi sa problem is 20% share dividends payable daw. That's why, nung tinimes ko yung 7,480,000 sa 20%, ang nakuha ko ay 1,496,000. Kaya ang naging entry ko sa November 15 ay ganito. I debit retained earnings for 1,496,000 and I credit share dividends payable for 1,496,000. Next transaction. On December 1, reissue the remaining treasury shares at cost. So, dito walang below cost or walang above cost kasi siya ay na-reissued at cost. That's why on December 1, I debit cash for 660,000 since ang natitirang treasury is 2,200 times its cost na 300. Kaya 660,000 and credit treasury stock for 660,000. Next. On December 15, distribute the share dividends. So, ang nangyari naman dito is i-distribute lang yung share dividends na dineclare noong November 15. Kaya ang entry ko is debit share dividends payable for 1,496,000, credit ordinary shares for 1,496,000. Let's move to the last transaction. On December 31, net income for the first year of operation was 5 million pesos. At palaging ang entry dyan is i-credit mo yung retained earnings sa income summary. That's why debit income summary for 5 million and credit retained earnings for 5 million. Ngayong tapos na tayo sa entries, dito naman tayo sa pangalawang requirement, which is yung shareholders equity account. Pero bago ang lahat, ano-ano nga ba yung mga kasama sa shareholders equity? Okay, it is said that when it comes to accounting, may tatlong components daw ang shareholders equity. First one is share capital, second is reserves, and then lastly is retained earnings. Kaya kapag gagawa ng shareholders equity account, yung tatlong yun yung kailangan na maipakita natin dito. That's why ganito ang nangyari sa aking shareholders equity account. I have here 10% preference shares authorized 50,100 par value, So, it is amounting to 3,500,000. Nakuha ko yung 3,500,000 dahil dun sa mga amount na naka-entry ko na naka-credit sa preference shares. Makikita yung amount niya is dun sa mga entry na ginawa. Kagaya ng entry na ginawa ko kanina. Next, I also have share premium preference amounting to 2,675,000. Inad ko lang din yung mga preference. Pinagsama-sama ko lang yung mga nasa entry. Then next is ordinary shares authorized 100,000 with par value of 100. I also have here 8,196,000 mula dun sa pinag-add na ordinary shares sa entry. Next is share premium ordinary amounting to 7,925,000 galing din sa entry na inad ko. Then add subscribe ordinary shares amounting to 1 million. Nakuha yung 1 million kasi yun na lang yung natitira galing dun sa dahil nag-minus na ng another 1 million kanina sa entry. Less subscription receivable ordinary. By the way, palaging naka-minus ang subscription receivable sa shareholders' equity. It is amounting to 2,500,000 kasi ibig sabihin ito na lang yung natitirang receivables mula dun sa ginawa kong entry kanina. Then, add natin donated capital. Bakit kasama yung donated capital? Because donated capital is part of reserves. At sabi nga natin, isa ang reserves sa tatlong component ng shareholders' equity. That's why kasama siya at naka-add. It is amounting to 500,000. At when you total this amounts, total share capital niya ay 21,296,000. Then, add natin yung retained earnings for 5 million dahil sabi nga, retained earnings is part of shareholders' equity. Then, ileles natin yung mga dividends payable na pinamigay natin sa mga shareholders. Gaya ng cash dividends payable for 151,000, share dividends payable for 1,496,000. At kasama rin sa ileles yung loss sa treasury na nangyari kanina nung nag-reissued tayo ng treasury. Loss on treasury for 42,000. So kapag winenta itong 5 million, ileles sa mga payables at saka sa loss, it is amounting to 3,311,000. Then, minus lang natin yung total share capital at yung nakuha nating sagot. So, 21,296,000 less 3,311,000. Ang total shareholders equity na natin ay 17,985,000. So, that's it. Dito na nagtatapos ang ating problem solving. I hope tama tayo and we learned a lot. Thank you.